The internet's broken. Business models and site design are entirely geared toward advertising and not the reader. On today's internet, advertisements are distracting, invasive, and overwhelming. In Den, the primary objective is quality content. Instead of ads, you may occasionally see a boosted post where a user has risked value to increase its visibility. Just like any other post, you can upvote or downvote to help evaluate the relevance to your community. The more engagement a boosted post gets, the less the booster pays. Depending on the evaluation process, a booster can get up to 85% of their money back, if the post is well targeted and engaging. In Den, quality content is the primary objective.
Well, Dave appears to be muted and not moving. So I don't know what's going on, but good morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee with Den. We have a lair. I think that's the thing going down. Let's see. Oh, I am feeding the animals and will join shortly, which is nice. Yeah, so welcome aboard. Don't really know. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about this morning. Apparently, we're going to be setting up our coffee lair because we actually have a coffee lair now for everybody who is constantly jumping in and chiming in and supporting the show, which is nice and all. So, just a moment here to see what's going on.
Hello, can you see me and hear me? That's awkward. Apologies. I don't know what's going on. One moment, please. Let's see if I can throw up an overlay. Be right back. Hello, I think I might be back. Testing. I'm having some technical difficulties this morning. My apologies. The intent was to go ahead and start this show, and it looks like things broke right when I was going into it. So let's try to bring Gravity Crab up again and see if it works. Hello.
Hi.
Can you see me and hear me?
I was in my own little bubble there for a minute.
Okay. It looks like I'm here.
I was like, where the hell is everybody at? I was like, Dave is frozen. And then my internet exploded as well.
Yeah. Well, maybe we're in the same city. So maybe there was maybe we nuked. Should we duck and cover? I don't know.
This is
okay. Well, hey, good morning. Welcome to Coffee with Den. I was able to hear your intro there.
My terrible intro monologue where I was just like, oh God, what's happening?
The internet is waking up. The internet connection is waking up with us. We'll give it a little bit of coffee.
I could use some of that.
But yeah, so as David was saying, this is the 40th episode of Coffee with Den.
That's right. We're on 40 now.
Yep. This should be the last one that's going into the Den layer. And then we'll be moving into our own layer. Yesterday, I went through and finished accounting for everyone who has been hanging out so far. And everyone's an owner now of the new one. So let me go ahead and bring that up and show it off. And because I'm suspicious if I'm even still on the screen or not.
You are.
You can hear me now. Okay.
You're here. You're alive now. I'll let
Fantastic. You know. So good morning. False start, but good morning. So let's bring this in.
How else would not being here for 2 weeks in a row? Is it 2 or 3 weeks we were gone?
I think it was 2. I think it was 2 because I've been in Iceland. I've been traveling on vacation.
As you do.
Sometimes, yeah. And that was great. It was a good disconnect. I recommend everyone do that every now and then.
Just go to Iceland every
Just
now and then. It's a
or
pretty good thing.
Iceland, or even like an hour outside of town and go camping or something like that.
Somewhere to just get away.
Yeah, that kind
more
of
than
thing.
a day trip. Sometimes your brain needs more than a day trip. Like, it's good with living here. I know I go to St. Augustine every now and then just to kind of clear the head, go to hang out down there. But sometimes you need like a week.
Cool. So I don't know. I'm out of whack now because we stumbled in the beginning, but let me throw a couple of reminders out. So this is a show that's about waking up and drinking coffee and reading the internet through the lens of Den.social. Basically, anything that people are posting onto Den is fair game. Makes it on topic if it's on Den. So we'll talk about some things. I have a few tabs pulled up that I was looking through this morning. This post that I have up now is over in the Den layer. It's the 40th episode, and it's going to be the last one in the Den layer before we move into the Coffee with Den layer. So at the top of this, there's a couple of links. One of them is to join the call live. So if you would like to do that, it's open to the public. Come in, have some coffee with us, talk about things and stuff, pick brains, ask questions, give comments, the thing. And we have a short agenda here. It's August, which means we have new layers, which is pretty cool. We got a conspiracy theory layer.
Yes, I was about to say the conspiracy theories layer is here, and I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, it's I think all of these were proposed, one of them in 2020, and I think the other two were in 2021 when they were proposed. So they finally won. These are done every month. They're voted on in the layer creation process and all that jazz.
Given its overall popularity, at least weirdly enough here in the West, I'm surprised anime and manga didn't get voted in way earlier.
Yeah, that's fair to say, because it's like you said. Yeah, it is. I feel like there might be a couple. Like I know Natural Health has a related layer that got voted in already. So maybe there's I don't know. Maybe there's something related. Has it been in the Japan layer before now?
Probably, yeah. That makes sense. That's probably where it's all been. Actually, Natural Health too. My buddy Johnny Apple here on Den will find that really interesting. He does a lot of essential oil stuff and things like that. So
awesome. I like to make fun of essential oil stuff a lot, so that'd be great. We should chat.
Oh, it's so much fun. I'm on board with it. I'm a damn dirty pagan. Say whatever you want to me. Like,
well, no, my only here's my gripe with essential oils. Since we're talking about it, before we start talking about the new coffee layer, essential oils. I hear. Oh, you know what? On the flight over to Iceland, there was somebody doing a little cooking show, and she was talking about how something was high in essential oils, as if it was a vitamin or something, right? And I've heard this before. And the thing about essential oils is it's the essence of the thing, right? It's not an essential part of your diet.
Yeah,
There's two different ways to use the word essential. And I see people, this is a problem that I have with, I guess, a lot of things with health stuff, with cryptocurrency stuff, whatever. People will say some bullshit they don't understand, and then other people will listen to them.
Oh yeah, that's the problem with everything in general, yeah. I think.
But it was like, and I see things being sold as like, oh, these are essential. They're essential oil. They're essential for your health. And it's like, no. It's
one of my favorite things that I've seen recently.
Of an orange, dude. Come on.
One of my favorite things I've seen recently. My buddy here. I say these things very kindly. I love him dearly, but he printed out this thing for me, and it was like this essential oil cured my issue paper, right? One of these testimonies from the company that he gets oils from. Because that's not weird in the first place. But anyway, so we get this thing and it says like, I was, having all these problems with my health. And then I just added, a couple of drops of lemon oil to my water. And then I drank that every day. Oh, side note, I didn't used to drink water. I actually stopped drinking 1.5 gallons of Kool-Aid a day and switched to water, but it was the lemon oil.
It was the lemon oil that did it.
Not the lack of 1.5 gallons of freaking Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Yeah. That is essential. Right there, the essence of life, water, that kind
essential
of thing.
Kool-Aid, I kind of like as well.
Yeah. So anyway, there's my little rant on essential oils. But no, I'd love to talk to him about it.
He would be on board with that. That'd be fun. We should have him on one day.
Sure. I mean, it's open to the public. You know how it goes. So we have to decorate a new layer. There's 84. I counted up 84 individual denizens who've participated over the past. Oh, what was it? Something like 40. We're on episode 40. So 39 weeks.
There was that many people.
Better part of a year, yeah, better part of a year. It was interesting. I was going back and seeing you and John. Like, there was a Christmas hat. There was like New Year's. There was, I was like, oh man, it's been.
Oh, my Christmas hat! I found that when I was going through some stuff when we moved. We just moved apartments to this lovely new like 2-bedroom townhouse, which I'll send you pictures of. Actually, I'll probably throw some up here at some point. We have like an actual stair. So we have like a nice open staircase, and like it looks too bougie for me to live in. It seems like a place that would be like an Airbnb that I'm staying at for a week. I guess I'm just used to living in kind of semi-crappy Gainesville apartments. So it's just kind of nice.
There's a lot of those around here.
Yeah, I've had all kinds of random crap when I was moving. I have way more big box PC games than I remember having. My shower broke day 1, which was great. Day 2, my upstairs shower, they decided brilliantly that the best way to make a shower look really nice and pretty would be to use latex wall paint in it.
So it peels down in sheets.
Yeah, you can assume how and they did this like into the bottom of the tub. So like we're standing there.
Oh, yeah.
I hear this noise, and it's because Jackie busted her butt this morning because like a strip of the paint like ripped off. So yeah, that's been fun.
Wonderful. That reminds me of the time that we, my department head in the Navy, we were in Greece, and there was the ship needed a paint job, and we didn't have the correct paint. So he bought more incorrect paint while we were in town, and we painted a ship that goes in the water. We painted it with water-based paint. I was like, all right, dude. And so that didn't work out very well.
How long was it painted?
I mean, it just kind of like dissolved into the other layer of haze gray underneath it. So whatever.
How often did you repaint the boats? Like, was that normal?
I didn't repaint it very often at all. I was a Tomahawk cruise missile technician.
Okay, well, not you, but how often did the grunts have to repaint the boat ship?
They're seamen. They're not grunts. They're respectable young men and women.
I think I'd go with the name grunt over seaman.
I don't know. It was constant. We did have to paint we had to paint our own launchers, though, our own missile launchers. So we got some experience busting rust with needle guns and painting and things like that. We did it once a month if we were out at sea for a while. Like, it's amazing how incompatible with water a ship can be.
Yeah,
constant maintenance.
I mean, I guess we did decide to put a big piece of metal on salt water.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, have good luck with this. Let's hope this doesn't rust or destroy itself in some way.
I mean, I'm sure that's the best way to do it. I don't know what I'm not a shipologist. I don't know. I don't know what else to do.
We're probably not going to build them out of wood. So we tried to do it out of concrete once. Well, actually, several times.
I don't know about that one.
There's concrete
boats. Layer.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I think I might have seen it in the history layer actually.
And then so finally, I'll throw some. We'll go through an Iceland recap. I got some photos of sheep, a lot of sheep, and stuff like that. Puffins, things along that.
Did you touch a puffin?
I didn't touch a puffin, but he came like right here and landed and was like, "What's up? I'm a puffin." So
see, I would have had to have taken a puffin home at that point. Just like, get in my bag, like you're coming with me.
So the first thing was on the new layers. So we talked about conspiracy theory, anime, manga, and natural health. Those were, if you don't know, they're every month. And then the number one, as ranked by unique voters. So if you can vote more than once, right? You can dump your lore on it and vote more than once. So there's 2 categories. One is unique voters, and one is by total lore committed. And so 2 of those out of that category won, and 1 of them out of the unique voters category. And those will go live Monday or Tuesday. And if you want, if there's anything else in the LCP list that didn't win that you want to win, you can create some of those through the alternate creation method or whatever it's called. Basically, it's runners up, and it is, or anything over 8 unique voters qualify for that. So if you come over to the LCP and check it out, you might find something that you're interested in that you wanted to win, like UFOs. I feel like conspiracy theories and UFOs go hand in hand.
Yeah, I think those will be nicely tied together.
If you go to unique voters, the top 5, so UFOs, upcoming crypto projects, Den's Got Talent, books, and astronomy astrophotography. Those could be created with a fee.
How much would it be to make books?
To books. So it starts at 200 with the first runner up, and then it goes up to 1,000. So 2, 4, 6, 800. 800 matter. And that can be paid by anybody. It can be split up by several people, but contact support.
A lot of books.
Yeah. I got some books I decorated.
I was going to say, you should pull up your screen and like show off your set back there. My set is a computer shop. So it's, by the way, quick disclaimer to everybody out there. If you hear a horribly loud noise and all of a sudden I mute and stand up and wander off, I'm in an open store at the moment. So
yeah, that works. No big deal. Yeah, I have stuff. I've been moving my desk around. This is like the 5th time I've moved my desk around. And, but this time I put stuff back there that I thought was interesting, at least to me. They've, stuff that has influenced me. I've got the Pip-Boy here. I don't know if you see that or not. That came with the Fallout 4 collection.
I'm still jealous that you have that. I remember being jealous when you got it because you were at you were at Jim's place still. And I came over because you said you had a Pip-Boy. And I put on, I was like, this is so cool.
And then there is, so next to that, there's my very first Threadripper right here, the Ryzen Threadripper case. It has a little sticker. You can't see it, but it says, "You are beautiful." And then I have the Dude. And then I have a first painting I bought, which is How I Feel Inside all the time. And that says Gainesville, Florida. And then there's some books. I just finished this one. It's called Lure. The Lure. It's about aliens sending signals to Earth. And there's a really interesting idea in there. I think it's a good book. The author got some things wrong, but if we had a books layer, I could review it.
Yeah, I was going to say book reviews would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's got some good ideas in it, mainly around the question of why an advanced ET would contact us in the first place. Like, what's in it for them, that kind of thing.
I still feel like we're the part of space that aliens roll the windows up when they go through. Like, nobody wants to stop at Earth.
Well, there were two main ideas. One of them was what the title of the book is about, called Lure. It's literally saying, like, if you're fishing for other intelligence to prey on them, would you not send around intelligent signals until you got a response, like fishing for fish in the sea?
Oh, we got a signal over there. Let's go blow those guys up next.
Yeah, right. So it was between that and the other one's a spoiler. I don't want to give it away. It took till the end of the book to really lay it out. So I figured the author wanted that to be not up front. But it was cool. It was a good idea. It was a very much better idea. And those are the two ideas that were debated in the book. So the rest of it is just books. So I've got 1984, Animal Farm, Fahrenheit, Sovereign Individual, Mostly Harmless, Douglas Adams.
Good Douglas Adams.
I got some Star Wars. I got Gex for the 3DO right there.
That's awesome.
That's the jewel case, the original game right there. And then there is Gorgle Dragon Tattoo, Dune, some other stuff that I can't read. Oh, yeah, Cryptonomicon, of course. There's a Conan the Barbarian book there. Brave New World, No Safe Harbor, which is a political party book, The Pirate Party.
The Pirate Party.
Yeah, Andromeda Strain.
I thought that was the Andromeda Strain.
Yep. Good old Michael Crichton. He writes the same book every time, but they're all...
Yeah, but it's great.
Lucifer's Hammer. That's a random one that I picked up in a thrift store that I thought was a funny title, and it ended up being one of the better books I've read in a long time.
Seriously? All right, maybe I'll check that out.
Post-apocalyptic. It's really raw take on what it would really be like in the end times, that kind of deal.
Now, next to that, is that a Game Genie box?
That is a Game Genie book.
That's a book.
With the codes in it.
So that is where the code book for the Game Genie that you gave me is.
Oh, yeah, that must be. I found that.
Do you want the Game Genie to display with it?
I don't have anything to use the Game Genie on anymore.
I mean, do you need an NES? I've got a few. I've got so many Nintendo products. It's wild.
Yeah, so. and then next to that is you can't see it because it's too shiny, but that's a DVD of The Matrix.
Oh, I was going to guess Firefly actually, but Matrix.
In front of that is a Gamers Nexus cube that has the GN logo in it. One of those Patreon things I got. I signed up for Patreon for 1 month and then canceled it.
Just
but
so you
it
could
was
have the
enough
cool
just to
thing.
get that.
I did that
So,
a while back to.
sorry, Steve. Yeah.
I did that a while back to beta test some guy's mods for some. I can't remember what the game was, but it was a mod that I wanted to play with. But he was like, "Oh, the new version's way better, but it's a Patreon thing." I was like, "Fine, here's $1. I'll take it."
Yep. And then VW bus made out of wood, an empty can of beer that has a cool label, a bunch of corks from bottles of wine, because why not? And a lamp that Dragon Sloth made, another denizen that hasn't been around for a while, though. And then these are 3 albums from Sigur Rós. This is an Icelandic band. They got me into Iceland like 20 years
Really?
ago. Yeah. I don't know what any of their songs are about because they sing in Icelandic. They don't sing in English. In fact, one of them is made completely out of a made-up language. It's just a Icelandic gibberish.
That sounds crazy cool.
But it sounds amazing. It's cool. So one of them is Sigur Rós, one of them is Jonesy, which is the lead singer's solo project. And then there's some more books and stuff. And then up top, there's some things. And then that's it.
I like you guys find
there's actually a Master Shield up there, too. So there's stuff. So
you know, when I played through Breath of the Wild, I never found the like the Hylian shield anywhere, and I found out later on that apparently it's in like the dungeon of the castle. I was like, that explains why I never found it.
I saw someone. Speaking of video games, I saw someone with an unmodified cartridge and N64 console. They were able to glitch into some of the like dev assets that were left in the game. There was stuff cut out of that game. There's different songs for your Ocarina.
For Ocarina of Time.
Oh, I left out what game I was talking about.
Yeah, I was like, hold on, we got a lot of Zelda, N64. I'm assuming we're going Ocarina.
Yeah. And so it was Ocarina of Time, and they ended up getting the Triforce. It does exist. It's not a myth. And they even enabled some new songs on the Ocarina, and there's subnotes. There's notes in between the notes. They originally, apparently, they had a more complex system where you could play more complex songs and things like that. So that was really cool. Big Zelda fan, even though I haven't played all the games. I've played many of them, but Ocarina of Time was...
I'm the same way on that. I love Zelda. I love the universe to it. I think that it's just such an interesting concept. It's the same game every time, but they really do a job of making it a different experience. But I'm the same way. I've played like 3 of the Zelda games all the way through. One of which is the original one. Which I think when you had the workshop, mm-hmm. I had my little Zelda cartridge was on the table. Wasn't there like a glass table? Yeah, there was a table we could put stuff under.
Probably.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
I'm sure there was a display case because I like.
Man, I wish we had more pictures of that place than just the one of Dom.
Speaking of pictures, do you want to see what Iceland's like?
I was waiting. Let's go. I want to see it.
Cool. So let me throw this up here. Before the show, I was copying over another denizen, Jacob Wayne, through his company Nomadic Gear, sent me some equipment to take footage with over in Iceland, and so I had copied some of that over, and I thought I was copying it to a hard drive that I could pull over to this computer and show. Long story short, I didn't, but I did post a bunch of stuff on Den already, so I can show that off.
Yeah, I haven't even gone through to see if you posted stuff yet because I figured we'd talk about it.
Bit by the coin. Thank you. Thanks for the welcome. And then I Am claims that life is a vacation, but I couldn't disagree more.
Yeah, no, it's
a vacation is a vacation. If life was a vacation, we wouldn't have vacations. We would just have life.
You want to know? Here's a fun theory. Well, not even a theory, just something stupid to throw out. If, like, let's say in a biblical sense, like biblical things are correct, we are already in hell. There's no way this could not be hell.
There's some interesting stuff there that I've been thinking about a lot. Not necessarily hell, but just cycles, I guess, cycles in time.
We should have a conversation about cycles in time.
Well, yeah, we're within 500 years of a 12,000 year cycle, and it's weird. But that's a topic for maybe a conspiracy theory episode.
Does that one count as conspiracies or spiritual stuff?
Yeah, I don't know.
Go, geyser, go.
Yeah, here's a geyser. I'll spare you my commentary. Turn the sound off, but I was walking. This is the first geyser that I saw. I was walking away from it, and I was noticing like every now and like it's got a pretty good timing to it every few minutes. So we were leaving, and I was thinking, oh, this is about time. So I threw up my camera, and I was like, I bet I can get it walking away, and go, and go, and there we go, guys.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's just like hot steam and water that shoots up into the air every now and then. So I saw some stuff like that, and then I got a lot of comparisons to Forrest Gump.
I was gonna say, how do you always look like a truck driver?
Look at this. There's me, and there's Forrest. I was like, dude, honestly, yeah, pretty good.
I love that Rockstar hit you with that as well. Just like,
yeah, I think Crypto Curious was the first one on Twitter. He was like, you're supposed to be running.
You're supposed to be running. I honestly, the resemblance is pretty.
The red
good.
hat, the beard, the hair.
I was just going to say
the gray coat. So I appreciated that. That was good. And then, this cave was cool from Maladesi. I saw. I didn't know which layer to put some of this stuff in.
I think travel was probably a good choice.
But well, there's travel and explore, and there's travel and photography.
Oh, right.
And this is related to something else I have up, which is we voted to do a new a leaderboard and metrics page revamp. So I couldn't decide whether to put it in there or whether to put it in the one that is travel and photography. And in the end, I went with the one that I'm an owner of to promote my own stuff. So that made sense. But I do have somewhere in here, if I scroll down some more.
Well, I should really check this layer out more often.
There's the ferry. So, okay. So I have 3 here. I have 3, 2, 1. And what I tried to do was in each one, because in Den, you can post a video or you can post photos. So I tried to post a video, and then in the replies, I would reply with a photo to everyone who replied to my thing. Right.
Oh, that's cool.
So there's some stuff in here. Yeah. Here's where I was first. We flew into Keflavik, which is down here, and we did all these peninsulas. We did the first night in Reykjavik, which was honestly the last night in Reykjavik was much better than the first one, I think. Reykjavik's like a city in Europe. It feels like it's just a regular city in Europe. But then we went up here somewhere, got a place to stay. All of them were Airbnbs or something. And we did 2 days in each spot. We did this first peninsula here. Oh, you know what? I want to say we stayed at the end of this peninsula somewhere. Right here is where it was. And then we took a ferry from here up to this one, to the one that looks like a big turkey foot or something. And super rocky. There was some Italians that crashed into a ditch. And I drove their car out of a ditch for them, so saved the day.
Hold on,
which was cool. And then we drove all the way back around here. Yeah, we were at. I don't know if you've seen. Let's see. Did I post a picture of it? Maybe.
You can't just say I rescued some Italians from a ditch without saying like I need context on that.
Let me see. There's photos in here. I want to find one that is relevant to what I'm talking about. Yeah, maybe not. There's just a spot with a big rock in the water. I think it might be up here somewhere. I forget where stuff's at now. Anyway, there's a spot with a big rock in the water, and you got to drive on the little Scheisstraße, a little crappy road to get out to it. And they were like they're on vacation, man, you know, and they were just pumping their Italian club music, which I only know that because so we arrived, and there's 2 people waving, and there's a car in the ditch, right? And so I'm like, oh, this doesn't look normal.
And they're just blasting music.
No, not yet. So the car is off because the car's off, right? So we approach, and we have a problem of language because I speak English. My wife and her mom and cousin speak English and or German, and the Italians speak exclusively Italian. And so we're trying to figure out like what to do. They need help, obviously. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Our phones don't even work out here, but we do have Wi-Fi if you need to call for help. And I'm looking at the car, and I'm like, okay, they need a hand. And I broke down to charades basically. And And so I here let me change storytelling mode. All right, so we've got Germans, English, Italians. The Italians are crashed in the ditch, and I am is here. Let me bring him up. Oh no, mute yourself. You sound terrible. Anyway, so I end up just like doing hand signals, like, "Can I drive your car? Can I drive? You know, like, can I just get it out?" And so we're also trying to find out, is this a 4-wheel drive? Is it 2-wheel drive? How easy is this going to be? You know? So I end up just getting in the car and I'm like, thumbs up. Is what I'm doing okay? You know, that kind of thing.
Is this fine? Can I, if I'm stealing your car, is this okay?
Yeah. So I get in the driver's seat and they're like, yeah, please. And I turn the car on. And as soon as I turn the car on, it's like, and I'm like, and I can't figure out how to turn it off because the controls are down in the side control panel of the car. They're not like on the dash where they should be. They're like way over here somewhere, the knobs and everything. So I'm like, and they're looking at me like I'm retarded. Like, what is he doing over there? Maybe I'm not supposed to use the R word. It's 2022. My bad. They're looking at me like I'm like I don't know what I'm doing and I'm stupid. And so I'm like, no. I'm like pointing at my ears and I'm like, how do I turn the music off? No, doing this. And they're like, oh, so they come in there, they turn the music off and then I can concentrate. And then I put it in reverse. I map my trajectory and I start going for it and I'm starting to get a little bit successful. And I hear everyone yell, no, stop. Because apparently I didn't have all the wheels on the ground.
Oh my God.
Right. But I couldn't stop at this point because I've got momentum and I'm like, I feel like I'm doing good.
If you
stop,
like, no, you're done. Fine. So,
but in the end, it was successful and the car wasn't even damaged at all. You couldn't tell anyway. I'm sure they had insurance from the rental company. It's fine. And they went on to see the puffins and the seagulls.
Those Icelandic pigeons.
Yeah. And there we go. Saved the day. It was great.
So anyway, you glossed over something there. Okay. What about not noticeably damaged? Does it damage from them driving into a ditch or because you didn't have all the wheels on the ground?
Well, I didn't do anything bad to it. If there was any damage, it was done before I got a hold of it. That's all I'm saying.
All right, I
don't know what they did at the bottom of the car whenever they you could tell on the road though, it was like a gravel road. So on the other side of the road, they had gone off the road and then they had overcorrected and come to the opposite side of the road where they went to the ditch. Yeah. So they were just having a blast.
Well, points to you for getting them out. Good job.
Yeah, points to me for getting them out.
Yeah. Part of growing up in rural Florida, we're pretty good at getting unstuck when we get stuck.
So anyway, sorry I shut you up there. I am. How you doing? Good to see you again. It's just you sounded like there was an ocean in your microphone for a moment there when I brought you up. Are you there?
Oh, he's there.
Oh, he took me seriously when I told him to mute his microphone.
He's just like, no, I'll never speak again. Well, now
that's what happened with that.
While you try to coax him back, I'm gonna get a cup of coffee right quick.
Cool. So I'll keep talking about Iceland for a minute. So we did that. Like I said, we took the ferry up here. We screwed around and saw some stuff. And then we drove. This was a terrible drive. Don't ever drive this way. Come to find out, the ring road is called 1, and it's a single-digit road. And then from that, there are 2-digit roads that go off. And from the 2-digit roads, there are 3-digit and 4-digit roads that go off. And you want to stay as close to, depending on your vehicle, the more digits that are in the road name, the more difficult and crappy it is. So little pro tip there. And then let's see here. Like I said, I tried to post some photos to everyone who replied. And I don't know if there's any good ones, but there are some. There were a lot of black beaches. I think everyone's probably seen the black beaches. This is one of them, and it had a rotten ship, just like a carcass of a ship that was there. So that was pretty cool to see. And they have rules about, like, they want them to stay there and be, rusted old ships with a history. So there's a lot of opportunities to take cool photos of that. I would say that the most difficult thing for me to get used to was the day-night cycle. There was like 20 hours of daylight every single day. We would get in. We used it, though. It was good for the trip. We got a solid 2 weeks in 10 days. But we would get in at like 10, 11 o'clock at night, and it would still be, like dusk, golden hour kind of thing. Golden hour lasts for probably 3 or 4 hours, and then the sun starts coming back up again at 3:30 in the morning. David, have you ever been anywhere? You ever been anywhere that has like 20 hours of sunlight every day?
No, God, no.
Yeah, it was that.
20 hours of sunlight a day? I know that it's like weird with the, well, not weird, but I know it's just different with the way that sunrise and sunset works over there.
Yeah, and it's the inverse in the wintertime, right? It's all nighttime.
Yeah, my grandparents took a trip a long time ago to Alaska, and that was the thing. They were there for 6 months. So for half of the year, for half the time they were there, the sun was up all the time, and the other half, it was like 4 hours of sunlight, and everything was dark, which I kind of would love.
Yeah, we got in, like I said, we got a solid 2 weeks in the 10 days we were there, just because we used the sunlight.
Just had a solid 2 weeks in because of the. Yeah, you were saying that you were going to go places at like 2 a.m. when most people aren't usually there.
Yeah, it's well, if you see first light is 3:30 in the morning. That's sunrise.
That's wild.
Yeah, and then last light is midnight.
So, that's a concept I couldn't even comprehend. The sun coming up at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I know. Blackout curtains are a thing.
I'm sure they're well sold there.
But I liked it. I could deal with. Now I got to go back in the winter and see what it's like. I bet there's nice auroras all the time. That would be great.
How cold was it?
How cold was it? Not bad. It was 40, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. 40,
Iceland is named, sort of incorrectly.
Look, there's greenery.
It's like how Greenland is named Greenland just because they wanted Viking settlers, not Vikings, but they just wanted settlers.
Oh, you think there was a motive there like that?
There was genuinely a motive there like that. That was the people that, I can't remember who, this is like the Leif Erikson type people. No real names, of course. Basically, Norsemen found a chunk of land that was farmable in Iceland, and we're like, hey, let's go back and tell people that everything is like really nice and pretty and green on this green land that we found. So they do all this, and then they got back, and they actually pulled like oh shit, it was so much greener here the first time. So like that's why there was the whole Greenland versus Iceland naming crap.
Nice. No, I didn't know anything about that. I know they're big on marketing the Viking thing in Iceland.
Very Norse.
There weren't many trees. A lot of the trees have been obviously planted there by people. Not a lot of trees that just happen to be there, but there is.
So you were just in Skyrim.
Oh yeah, totally, man. It felt that way. Look at the background here. It's just like in the distance. It's just Skyrim. Yeah, exactly.
Did you not dragon shout at the sky just to see what happened?
I did at least one Fus Roda.
Yes,
I did it. I did an unrelenting force. And my wife turned around and was like, "What? What did you just say? What was that?"
He just like,
what
the hell?
It's a dragon language.
It's a dragon shout. Don't you understand? Let's get her to play Skyrim.
That was we went to the lava fields, right? You're just walking on top of lava, and there's steam coming up from the ground, and it's like warm all of a sudden. You get up there, you got your coats on and stuff, and you start walking on lava. And you're like, everything's hot and sweaty all of a sudden.
Nope. You couldn't pay me enough. See, something about walking on a thin crust above something that can just turn my leg into nothing in 1 second. Oh my God.
There's one of the beaches, right? The Black
That's
Beach.
Crazy.
And this is what I was talking about there's this rusted metal that used to be a ship that was beached. And it's, they got a sign saying, don't mess with it. Don't mess with the rusted metal. We want it to be there.
How old is the ship?
I don't know. I read the sign, but I got a picture of it. I can reference it later.
There's a sign. Don't touch my rusted metal. This is ours.
Yeah. So I guess I did a couple of little videos. I didn't do as many as I thought I was going to do.
Well, you were just kind of enjoying Iceland, I'm sure.
Let's see if this has anything interesting in it. Yeah, this is what the landscape looked like.
Oh my God. Why did you even come home?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I would have just built a little shed right there. That's where I live now.
Well, probably because it's really unforgiving to live there. I mean, they import everything, right? They have
Right.
like even the sheep were imported by the Vikings or whatever, they 1100 years ago.
Imported the sheep
Yeah.
a long time ago.
And then let's see, what is this? Oh, this is just me talking to the camera, so that's nothing. But there
Just
are
talking about Iceland.
more photos here, probably, maybe not.
Bro, there are no
no,
lies.
no, there's not.
Lies and deceit.
What about this one? Here's me on the ferry. Okay, yeah.
The Skipper Gastropub is what that place was called.
Yeah, Skipper's Gastropub. But there were a lot of these little, like, you see, there's like a few houses over here.
Mhm.
There were so many of these just small. You could call them a town, I guess, but there's like 5 buildings. There's a church and like 5 buildings, just right next to the mountain, just hugging the mountain next to the ocean. And it was surprisingly varied all around the island. This is the lava fields I was talking about. All of this is dried, cooled lava with some growth on it. You can see a little bit of steam coming out of the back there. And those were great. Those were great to explore. This is
rock and roll.
Yep, nothing much, just rock and roll.
Check out this rock.
Oh yeah, here's one.
Oh.
So here's a beached boat, and the framing here is odd because just off to the left there was a tourist bus, and I was like, "You're breaking up the scenery. Stop that."
I'll take these 2 cars instead.
Yeah, so there's not much in Iceland. So whenever there's a big chunk of metal somewhere, they put up a sign and they make a parking lot so you can pull off and check it out.
So you can look at it.
And go look at it. Yeah.
A
lot of things to look at.
I wonder why so many. It's just, there seems to be a lot of abandoned beach boats. Like they just landed and we're like, no, we're dead. Screw this place.
Yeah. Well, they've had a while to crash there. They've collected some. But there were a lot of fields. There's a lot of grassy fields. So I guess they have some time in the summer to where they can harvest a bunch of grass for the sheep, and then that's what they eat in the winter. The sheep, not the grass.
You just consume mountains of grass during the winter.
Yeah.
They've stored up. I wonder what, like archaeology-wise, how much stuff has been pulled out of the ground there.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. But yeah, so there's some stuff over in the Travel and Explore layer. Check it out. I'll have some more. I gotta dump these cards. There's videos. The camera that Jacob Wayne sent with me was pretty cool. It was is it DJI? They make drones and stuff, but they make this. It's like a GoPro form factor.
Is that the one? Does it like follow you? Like is the camera?
Well, no, I didn't get a drone. I got just they also.
No,
make
I mean like
camera.
the little gimbaling, because I know some of their cameras have a little gimbal that'll follow you around.
No, I've seen those too. I had to try to be steady, but it really does great. I was a little skeptical at first because I had this thing about frame rates. Probably comes from playing too many video games, and I was looking at some of the footage where I had moved it too quickly, like panned across too quickly, and you get that stuttering, like kind of thing. But then when I dumped the cards and I was looking at the videos, every time I paused it on a frame, the frame is crystal clear, like completely no blur, nothing. It's like a high resolution photograph. It's super good. Whereas if it's like on my phone or something and I'm moving it around and you pause it somewhere, there's motion blur and there's smears and stuff like that, right? But no, this is all the footage has got. You can pull a still frame out of any of the videos, and it looks like you meant to take a still photo, not from a video. So there's a lot of stuff in there, and he's going to edit a video out of all the footage, which should be pretty cool.
That should be neat. It'll be nice.
Yeah, I'll put that up in there. I'll throw it in the coffee layer. It's related.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, we're there, so it's related, I guess. Yeah, I guess what goes in the coffee layer? Just anything coffee related?
Yeah, just whatever
you want us to see.
Kinda.
Like
so
that.
Let's go to it. Let's just transition into that. So there is a new layer called Coffee with Den, and it is currently empty because I just made it yesterday.
I have always wanted to do one of these stupid first posts, and I was like, yeah, this is the place.
Well, you made it.
So we got to do a banner now, and we got to have we got to get an avatar for this one.
Look how many people on this layer.
That is
so I went
insane
through
to me
every episode that we did. I went through and I counted up everybody who had commented. I tried to go through and scrub through the videos to see who came on the show to talk, to see who had commented on YouTube and stuff. And I'm pretty sure I got an accurate representation. I tried to give one lot per appearance or per interaction, I guess. And we came up with 84 denizens and 372 lot total from all of that. So that's going on. And then maybe I Am for I Am can have resolved this technical difficulties. I guess the internet is just under attack today. Let's bring it up.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, I didn't have any internet at home this morning.
Interesting.
Because all my robot vacuums were pissed off.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Howdy.
Can you hear me better?
You look and sound great now.
Yeah, he sounds better. He's genuinely underwater this time, though.
So I was just going through some, travel photos, doing that thing where you show off where you've been and say, look where I went. And so that's over. And I'm just talking about the new layer now, because starting next week, I'm going to start hosting in the coffee layer, in the Coffee with Den layer.
I'm excited. Welcome home too.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
2 weeks, and I didn't have anyone to drink my Den coffee with.
Oh no, 2 of them, 2 whole weeks.
We survived.
Barely, I saw you caught up with Joe a little bit on one of the Den.social calls.
Yes.
I have to go back and catch up on some of that stuff.
The last one was really interesting. He's got a really cool idea that we were talking through about trying to eliminate matter from escaping the platform, by incentivizing you having to do with incentivizing reputation. So think of, I'm going to really mess this up because
perfect.
It was just presented very briefly, but the general concept that I understood was really cool in that your reputation would be, let's call it a number that you would see on the screen, and it would also have a value, so that if you had a high reputation, your matter would be worth more, or there would be another token, kind of like energy, matter, and rep, or I don't know, whatever it is. And but if you did cash out, that would have severe consequences on your reputation score. So
so economic reputation.
Yes. So
right.
Well, it's reputation on the site.
Right.
Is includes if you cash out or not. How's that?
I remember, I don't know if it's the same thing or not, but I remember talking a little bit in the past about denizen flags is one of the options in the, if you remember, in the governance votes for the prioritizations features. And in the flags, there was the concept of displaying someone's economic reputation that way. So, like, okay, this is somebody who is literally going to, whatever I give them is they're going to go sell it. They're going to go cash it out. They're going to take it out of the platform. They're going to remove that value from Den and do something else with it, versus, this is somebody who takes that and uses it in the platform for whatever thing, whether it is to acquire more lore so that they can vote on things in the LCP, or whether they are using it to do whatever else. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's an interesting thing there too, because
and I said it'd be a great idea to implement something like that before we try to tackle these gas fees and used, Solana, Polygon, whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, I left enough time to grab a cup of coffee, and everything is very technical now.
Yeah, that's how we roll.
All right, that's what we do.
Yeah.
No. Anyway,
if you get bored,
David,
and there'll be something even more boring. But no, we should probably decorate the layer, right?
That'd be great. You know what? We need the artwork of our main man that could.
Yeah, where the hell is John?
Amazing NFTs. I mean, he did
John
such a great representation of me that one time.
I
forgot about that.
With the blue dress.
Yeah.
I also forgot that he made the lair for the Gainesville, like the banner for the Gainesville lair, which might be my favorite one on the entire platform, next to the cannabis lair. That's got the best banner I've ever seen.
Honestly, I hate the one in the Gainesville lair just because I'm in it.
I love the one in the Gainesville lair because it's the best headshot of you ever.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I went to this event where they were doing headshots and they were like, "You want a headshot?" I'm like, "Sure. What do I do?" And they were like, the guy
Look
told me to
at
pretend
me.
like I was a person in that meme holding lemons or something. Where I was like, why can't I hold all these? You know, that kind of thing.
Oh, can I give you a little pushback because I heard you guys dissing on my idea about life as a vacation.
Oh
So,
no.
you know what you did? You just ruined my vacation.
So I ruined your life.
Yes,
You know
yeah,
what?
yeah.
I'm fine with that. If we've
I'm-
ruined somebody's life today, then we've done well.
I'm saying in that idea or concept was that it's a state of mind. So if you enjoy your work, you enjoy your job, you know, it's not work. You've heard that kind of those kinds of cliches. So that's kind of what I was trying to mean, that, you know, it's a state of mind. If life is not a vacation, of course it's not, but you know, we find joy and happiness along the way, right?
I'll tell you this.
And that's a little bit and we have downtime, you know, seize the day, you know, what's the you know, like meditation or being in the moment, these kinds of things, those happen throughout your day, every day. And then you have those rough bad times as well, and you have those good memories that you think about during the day. So that is why I was trying to say that the cup is half full, so therefore life is a vacation. How's that?
I definitely
Well
had so I was on a vacation literally for a couple of weeks, and there were definitely many parts of it that were hard. It wasn't all a vacation, you know what I mean?
Sure.
I especially don't like flying overseas. I just don't like being cramped in a little thing, a little seat. My body feels terrible once I'm done. Even if I get the seat with the extra foot space and stuff like that, it's just I don't like it. And then also we were in a car for 2 weeks for forever.
Yeah, it's bigger than people think.
Yeah, 4 people in a car driving around, and you know there was a lot of there were a lot of things to figure out because it was a foreign alien land, and everything
like
cost
you're
way too much
genuinely an
money.
explorer.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, a very convenienced explorer.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Like definitely not like a 17th century explorer, but you know, you've
Wasn't
got some
cutting
modern
through-
amenities.
Yeah, it wasn't cutting through the Amazon looking for the lost city of Z kind of thing. But
That'd be cool. That
I
should be
don't
our
think
next
it would. I don't think it would be cool. I
Your
think it'd
next
be
trip is
terrible.
going to be going through the Amazon trying to find a lost city, and you can record it, and Jacob Wayne will make a video out of it, and it'll end obviously with your deceased, self.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'll have to stream it live out of there so that when I don't come back, you'll still have the footage.
I'll know where you were. Like I'll just watch. Yeah, that's right. Stream it live so I can go back and get the original copy at least, and we can retrieve you.
Yeah, there's that.
So cool. Okay, so the banner. Well, I
Yeah.
like our coffee logo. So a suggestion would be that the coffee logo be to the right, because we have the typical icon has that circle with the name of the layer on the left. Does that make sense?
That.
You talking about this part?
Well, is that okay? That
So this is what I have.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I assume that this could be a good banner to put
Yeah.
at the top of the page, right, where there is none. And then there's the circle. Oh, I see what you're saying. The circle.
Oh,
is
if it was
Flip flop it. So put the coffee to the coffee logo on the right side.
Got you.
Because the circle on the left side.
That makes sense. Yeah, that could make a lot of sense.
I get that actually. Yeah.
Other than that, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's
I like
still
the
my.
background. I like the was it like a black tile kind of thing? Or,
Yeah, this was made by
Oh God, what is his name?
Bebek Tetri or something like that. I'm going to butcher the name. One of the
They've
owners.
made us all kinds of really cool stuff for coffee. They've got the logo here. They've done like some neat little animations. The space guy
like
planting the
asphalt, right?
flag.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's professional. It's really
Dig it.
crisp, sharp. I love it.
It's about the only professional
dragon.
thing
It's
we
got
have
the
here.
coffee thing. It's got it all. It's
need to
professional, even though our conversations aren't always professional.
A banner. Let's have one.
So you were asking about what kind of stuff goes in the coffee layer, and really, it's just a place for all of us to hang out and talk and chat, right? It could be, talking about things that we see in other layers on Den, just like we do on the show.
I think it'll be also a great place for some of our people that are here regularly to just dump stuff that they want us to see. Because I mean, like any social media based thing, there's a ton of stuff that I miss on Den just because it goes by and I don't check it later. Or I don't usually sort by what's hot. I usually look at the new stuff. So like, there's tons of stuff that I'm sure that people have posted that have seen this. They'll be like, oh, I'd like that to get talked about. Like, throw it over in the Den layer, the Coffee with Den layer.
We can go through. We should actually decide what we want to enable as well, because if you think about the World Blockchain Roundtable layer, until recently, only WBRT, the account itself, could post in there. And then recently it was opened up to any of the hosts or any of the lot holders, I think, or something like that could post in there. So we can decide that as well. I'll skip the avatar for now. I think we'll probably put the same thing that's on the like coffee cup or something, or something like that on there. The display name will just be Coffee with Den. The description. This is where we can say things about what should go in here. So what should the description be? If it's just a place for people to talk about Den stuff, maybe that's the description.
Just the word coffee. No,
coffee with Den.
With Den. Post some stuff in here you want us to talk about.
How to clean a keyboard that has coffee spills.
I did that really well. This one had coffee in it.
Nice. I think it's all things that matter with coffee and Den.
All things that matter on.
I like the wordplay there. All things that
MTR.
Capital matter. Should I do matter with an M that's big?
Yes.
Honestly, you should definitely just do all things that MTR for matter.
All things that matter. Nah. Because not everybody gets that. Not everyone's a nerd. Unfortunately.
I like the MTR, but yeah, I get it.
Fine.
No.
We win. We majority voted and we won.
Broad audience, though. But Dave is right. For the broad audience, they're not going to get MTR.
I think the capital M is enough to be not totally on the nose, but there's an intentional capitalization.
Oh, there you go. All things that matter inside and outside of Den, and anything that can be discussed over coffee.
All things that matter
inside and outside of Den. I don't know.
Oh God, why am I'm the worst writer?
To denizens with coffee.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And should we just like flesh it out with like, anything that you might want us to talk about on the show?
Actually, that's supposed to be the description. So I'll put it down here. So pay attention whenever you're doing tags and whenever you're doing descriptions and stuff, because there's two fields. One is describing the change.
Oh yeah.
And the other one is the actual thing. Right.
Yeah.
So,
and to anybody out there that has a hard time with stuff like that, we look at this stuff all day long and we still do this.
A new layer. Right. So you put in the description so that people know why you're doing it. And then all right. All things that matter to denizens with coffee. And then that's open to interpretation. People can decide what matters to them, and then they can post it in Den into the layer. So cool. That's done. Created. Boom.
Yeah. I hope we actually have a fair amount of traction of people going in there and just throwing stuff, because I think that'd be really fun.
I think we're going to overtake Good Morning America and Fox and Friends. Yeah. We can
overtake that one.
What are your thoughts on the reputation system? Now, I kind of feel like it could be cool to enable the reputation system and make it to where you have to have at least a 3-star reputation site-wide to be able to post in there.
Yeah, I could agree with that, because without that, we're essentially just going to have people that are the angry about everything crowd that does tend to kind of float around.
Or not.
No, I like the idea of having it like 3-star site wide at least. Meaning that seems fair.
Yeah. And our audience is could be newbies.
Yeah.
And they're still going to be able
to post.
Thought. There's other areas, if I don't know.
Well, it doesn't have to be all or none either. So each individual thing. Let's say to post, you've got to have a site wide of 3 or a layer. How about a site wide of 2, but a layer rep of 3?
That works.
Right.
Okay.
Meaning if you like right now, none of us have any layer rep at all. So before, while people are still getting reputation inside the layer itself, you have to go by the site wide, and that's how that works.
Oh,
right?
okay, that works then.
So that's why there's two different settings. So it's like, okay, if you have no layer rep, then we go by your site wide. But as soon as you have enough rep inside the layer to have a layer rep, then we'll switch over to your reputation.
And it flips over to that,
layer.
and then that's how it reads at that point. Okay,
and that's what this
actually
layer
fair.
reputation threshold is. It's like how many times you have to post to get voted on before you switch over to the layer rep.
Okay.
And by default, it's 13. But what do you think that should be? Like, how many times should we post before we're like, okay, we have an idea of what kind of posts you have? Should it be 5? Should it be 13, like default? Like, how long do we leave before we get?
We could leave it default, just because, I mean, if that's
Yeah.
how it is site wide, that should be fine.
Sounds good.
There must be
So-
a good reason for it.
With replies, I would say we could leave them lower.
Yeah, leave them pretty much wide open, honestly, because
Okay.
like people replying to stuff is a heck of a lot less spammy than people just jumping in and posting stuff all over.
Right. And
Makes
they're more likely to reply to the actual comment rather than
Just throw
Something
something
that's-
totally random in there.
yeah.
Cool. Now, what about do we want to restrict who's even allowed to vote on content? What do we think about that? Because and maybe we don't care yet. Maybe it's not a problem at this point, right? But we
I'd say leave
could
that one
restrict
be
that.
for now, because there is no
Okay.
real reason to restrict it.
I like
Now,
that we're going through this because this is actually a great demo for other people to come back and
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, we can
Definitely.
cut into an hour. We can just delete the first hour of this show where we're trying to figure out how to be a show again, and then start here.
No. Your vacation story with as Forrest Gump, the superhero for Italians.
I
Oh,
ran to
Italian.
Iceland and then rescued some Italians.
And then you ran
Evaded the Geyser's team, trekked across lava fields. Yeah, I did all that.
I want to know how many people have been injured in the geyser fields.
There's signs, and where there's signs, there's history.
Like,
There's a reason for the sign.
do not stand over this geyser. It hurts.
Yeah, there's a lot of signs and ropes, and like there's one that says you are like for the whole area. It says you're entering this area at your own risk. Kind of like swim at your own risk, but it's like just for the piece of the country you're in.
It's like, if you die here, we're not going to be responsible for it.
It's
We
gonna
put a
take a
rope
while.
here.
There's no emergency services on at the ready anywhere except maybe in Reykjavik and Keflavik and stuff like that.
Right.
But and I saw like 2 cops the whole time,
Oh my
Right.
God.
the whole country. They have no military. They got 3. I saw 3 Coast Guard ships, but they have no military other than that. And I felt safe. I felt so safe. There were not all of these like people running around with badges and guns and stuff everywhere trying to find somebody to harass.
I
I felt great about it. I felt really, really safe.
That's not bad at all. Like having a minimal police presence and just some
Yeah.
boats offshore. You're like, I feel pretty good.
Yeah, great place to be for a nuclear war.
What happens if, like-
I actually thought about that a little bit and talked to my wife about it a little bit. I was like,
What-
we got
So, like,
geothermal
there's-
energy, lots of wind. If we needed power that way, if the volcanoes run dry, I guess.
If the volcanoes run dry. It's so like, okay, there's no emergency services at the ready. So like, what if ice wraiths come out of this, like from up top and come and like attack you or something? Do you
Ice raids?
ice wraiths? I was making a Skyrim
Wraiths.
joke.
Oh, ice
But
wraiths.
Ice
Yeah.
raids is way cooler sounding though.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I'm just imagining people like raiding for ice. But actually, like, if you break your leg, you just gotta wait several hours.
You basically have to do that. Yeah, there's helicopters. I think that's
Oh
the
my
answer.
God.
There you go.
Yeah. So ice wraiths. Yeah, helicopters
wraiths.
swoop in and save the day. I mean, it happens. During the war, the last big one, the U.S. built the airport, the international airport that's in Keflavik. And so that, I feel like that like ushered in the age of tourism for Iceland, because now you could easily get there. And so since then, there's just they've been dealing with Americans. They've been dealing with Europeans too, but yeah, I started calling them tourists instead of just tourists, like terrorists, but tourists.
Tourist.
Yeah.
I kind of get that actually.
Yeah.
But back on this, so with the image in the video, we've already said that there's a reputation threshold for posting, right?
Mhm.
So among those who can post, I guess this would apply also to replies, because you can post an image in replies as well. So
Right.
who should there be a limit on, or a reputation threshold on, who's allowed to post an image? Like, let's
I
say
don't think
you have a
No.
1-star rep and you can't post because you have a 1-star rep, right? But you can reply to a post, and in that reply, should you be able to include an image in your reply?
I don't see why
Yes,
that'd be an
I don't
issue.
see why not.
Cool. So
It's
that
something
stays.
we can alter later.
Cool. That
That
stays.
can be
So far,
changed.
it looks like just the posting in itself, and this is still open to anybody as long as they have a somewhat decent rep. As long as they're not a troll or a spam account, that's
Mhm.
what that's for.
Okay.
And then video, same question. People that are allowed to post, should there be a difference between being allowed to post and being allowed to post with a video, right? Or should it just be,
And
if you
that's
can post, do it?
just for clarification, that is posting like the link to YouTube video, right?
Yes. Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I think
Yeah.
the reputation should match. If they can post, content, just, or post a video, whatever the reputation, those should match.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that basically the post itself is the gate.
Yes.
So it's probably safe to leave video as one, because if you can get through the posting gate, then you can
you're
post
obviously
whatever
reputable enough to be able to post whatever you really want to, and it should be fine.
Right. Cool. So, and then the last thing is I'm going to turn off torrents, because we need infrastructure for that. We would have to, this is something I'm interested in, by the way. I don't want to gloss over it too much,
Like
but I
big
do want to.
file sharing archives and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
That would be neat.
yeah. So this is now our domain, right? And we can do whatever we want, including a number of us, if we want, or we have the capacity to, or the interest, we can run BitTorrent nodes ourselves, and we can serve up files, right?
Really?
We can even
That would
potentially, I haven't tried this out yet, but we could potentially use that to serve up these episodes too. We could use our own BitTorrent network to serve up the videos in the DIN layer, stuff like that. So this is something that I actually requested and never used back when it was whenever I was I had a whole plan for the music layer. But
I can see how that plan would make sense.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Distribution of like local artists and stuff like
Yes.
that. That would be
Ah,
cool.
good
We can
check,
still
good
do
check.
that in the
We
music
can
layer.
totally
actually.
still do that. Yeah.
And so this could be a great place for me to post my JFK assassination information, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
of course.
Yeah. So we can leave torrents turned on,
Actually,
and
we
we
have a
can
layer for that.
restrict the reputation. So this is where, like, there's, torrents are torrents, right? They're decentralized file sharing. So you can gate that by saying, okay, you got to have a reputation as being a good actor to be able to post a torrent. That way we know you're not posting something that is malicious per se, right? This is how people get computer viruses and things.
Right.
So we should probably have a thread or a post in the DIN layer to talk about, like, what are the uses of this? How should we try to use it? Yada, yada. But for now, maybe
For
turn it
now,
off.
let's leave it off. Yes.
Yeah.
But,
cool.
That's fascinating. This is
just turn that
a great discussion for a future show too.
Yeah,
We
for
should
sure.
Really put that. I'm going to write it down right now.
And that's the thing. Like, we can. I intend to still do the Wednesday shows like this, but we can also just have one-off episodes that are pre-recorded that we post in the Coffee Layer too throughout the week. And one of them could just be a discussion on how to use a certain feature on DIN, or how to use, that kind of thing.
Right.
So in here, I'll just put initial reputation settings, limit posting rights to
Con job. The con John, yeah.
to I'll call it decent. I don't know. What do I put in here? Post 2 to 3, 2/3, 3, Dave. Okay. Star rep required. Dang, my fingers. All others 1 star. Just a quick description of the change proposal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Cool. And by the way, Gravity Crab, when you exited the live stream here, Descent and I selected the new president of the United States for
Oh, God.
2022.
Yeah.
So that person has been selected already.
You'll have to go back and listen.
You
Yeah.
missed your ability to select that.
Well,
during
shit. Okay, well, you know what, that's
35
fine.
seconds that you exited the live broadcast.
There is such a good political joke that could be made there. Like, oh, I looked away for 15 seconds and now the world's different.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I woke up today and now everything's different. Cool.
And then we can throw some tags in while we're here. So that's up.
Oh yeah.
And so these are whenever you, and this is going to be the same next week whenever the new LCP layers are born. You'll have the 5 site-wide tags, which include the smart tags of not safe for work, spam, and abusive. As a reminder, the not safe for work tag will blur the image if there's an image, but it will not blur the text. The spam tag and the abusive tag will blur both the image and the text inside the content.
And those are default. Those are great.
And those are default. They come with, right? So let's propose some tags. So something I did talk about, in addition to selecting the new president while you were around the corner there, David, was that since we have our own layer, I intend to continue doing these shows on Wednesday at 9 a.m. live. But since we have a full layer to play with now, we can do other content here as well. It can be pre-recorded interviews, pre-recorded episodes specifically about different features, what to do with the torrent question, what to do with this or that, right? So with that, we should have a tag for this show. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So for this specific live, how about live? Live?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me an example of how a user would use live. When would they click on live? Because
it'd be more for like if we're
replying to something.
Well, I would say so. The difference I'm thinking of, for example, if I did a one-off piece of video content that was not this Wednesday morning live show, but it was instead David and I playing Civ 6 cross-posted from the gaming layer. I don't know. That's just something off the top of my head, right? Or it's an interview. Maybe it's an interview with Mark Zuckerberg about why he should adopt a Den.social model over his predatory Facebook model, and we post that in here, but it's not live part of the show.
We need to install his morality inhibitor first.
Or should
I got you. So when
you know what I mean? So it's basically a category of content.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, that'd work really well.
Interview might be a good one.
Interview's a good one too.
Okay, so a tag for the Wednesday. Dang it. Wednesday
live show.
And so we'll call that. Should we call it CWD? Should we call it? It's got to be 13 letters or less, and all lowercase.
We probably should do the CWD then. That makes the most sense.
Well, hold on.
We just talked about 3 different things. I'm sorry. Coffee with Den. So we're tagging this show that we're doing now, so that when it shows up in the layer, it's differentiated from like somebody who's tagging something or somebody who's like, let's say I post a video, but it's not this video, right? Perfect. Versus I'm posting the show with yada yada.
Yeah, definitely should be a Coffee with Den tag, which is a CWD. Makes sense.
Cool. CWD. So confirm. Created. All right, now let's do another one.
Interview.
Yeah, interviews are good. Also pre-record or something like that.
A tag for content.
Would be good.
A tag for interviews. Like maybe I'll get Full Value Dan back on here and do an interview there, right?
Oh, that would be really cool, actually. That's an
He was the gentleman that was touring with. Is that the one that was going to be doing the tours with horrible names?
Oh, he went over.
Oh no, that was Matt Martyr.
Yeah, I don't think Matt was the guy that we're talking about, right?
Oh, okay.
No. Yeah, Full Value Dan. We did an episode. It was kind of janky. I tried to make it like a hybrid live, but then roll into a pre-recorded interview, and it was, I'm still making everything up as I go. So it was one of those where I was like, oh, we should do this again, but different.
Pre-recorded would be a good tag.
Yeah,
Can you
pre-recorded
imagine
shows.
like all of us saying, "Hey, listen, none of us are going to be available Wednesday morning. Let's pre-record a show Tuesday night."
That is a good idea because I could see that happening
So it
occasionally.
could be
I mean,
CWD and pre-recorded could be a tag on that piece of content. Okay,
yeah.
so let's call pre-recorded. Is that 13 letters? Pre-recorded.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I guess so. It could be pre-recorded. Yeah, pre-recorded. Cool. So confirm, and then I'll do another one called live stream. Live. What do you think? The opposite of pre-recorded.
Live. Just do
Yeah.
live.
Yeah, just
Live?
live.
Cool. A tag for live content. I'll confirm that. All right. Now, what else do we think we're going to use and talk about on the show? Should there be a tag for discussions on like other content? Does that need a tag? Probably not.
We bounce around on different topics that just randomly come up. So
I think we'll probably find out what we need as we need them in that case.
Yeah.
right,
I believe, I'm pretty sure I was actually, I'm going through and voting on all those ones we just put in.
Okay, great.
But I'm pretty sure that that's going to be the way it goes, is just as stuff pops up that we
Yeah.
might need a tag for, us or anybody that's on board can do so.
Right. Any owner,
I need
any
to
lot holder
subscribe
of
to
the
the
80.
lair.
Thank you.
I'm going to refuse to subscribe to this lair.
subscribed.
All right. So all of those, let's see, what else? Is there anything else to do here? Tags. We're not going to do user mod. This is where you can individually vote, say like let's say we don't want Den.social to be even anywhere near here, right? You can say, go away, Den, this is our lair. And say, we can say, you're not allowed to, you can reply, but you can't post even if you have a perfect reputation.
Oh, can you in here, can you restrict the hell out of me or vote to restrict me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so once
Yeah,
I
you can.
finally once I irritate somebody hard enough that I get ousted from the show, you can
Yeah,
go in here and restrict me.
Anyone who holds lot, any owner of the lair can come in here and say Gravity Crab's terrible and should never be allowed to post or reply ever again.
I'd be on top of that.
But this is a three-way switch.
I'm
also say
typing
the
that as
opposite.
we go. Gravity Crab is what? I'm typing.
It's terrible.
Oh,
It should be
how do you spell terrible?
destroyed.
But this
you spell
works
it my first
across
name.
the board, right? You can say default, which follows the reputation. It follows whatever the reputation settings is, that we said earlier. You can say deny, which means ignore reputation settings. This person's never allowed to post again until we change our minds.
Jesus.
Or we can say the opposite. No matter the reputation, they're always allowed to post because we love this person. Or
Really?
their reputation is a symptom of their status as a parody account or something like that. You know what I mean?
Points to whoever does all the UI stuff for the platform. A little triple switch and being gray on one side and blue on the other is pretty aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Oh, anonymity.
Ooh, yeah.
There are. Oh, this could be interesting.
I 100% say we should have anonymous content.
Okay.
Absolutely. I love it. I love the idea too, because people are going to post stuff, want to be anonymous, but the matter, energy, whatever, still comes back to the.
We don't seem to mind.
But I'd like to. Wow, that sounds like a greedy comment. That's not what I was meaning.
I think it's interesting that it's incentivized by the owners, right?
Yeah.
So because it's anonymous and the platform obviously doesn't know who to reward for the content, all of the rewards for any anonymous post goes 100% goes minus all of it goes to distributed over the lot holders, right? The 84 people that own lot in there. So it's incentivized, and I don't think we should do this at all, but you could potentially disallow identified content and make it anon only.
Right. But
you know what I mean? You're not allowed. So that would be something for Red Pill or conspiracy theory layer or something like that.
Right? I love that idea. Yeah.
So we're gonna have it anonymous or not. Your choice.
Government whistleblower would be awesome.
Whistleblower, like a whistleblower layer where you have to be anonymous. You are not allowed to say who you are when you post that kind of
from
thing.
From a perspective of not even looking at the payouts and everything, depending on how anonymous content is set up and all that. we don't seem to have much of a problem. Anybody that we have on here or whatever doesn't really seem to have much of a problem talking about pretty much anything that comes up, as long as it's something that we have like a thought about. So yeah, not having people be able to go in there and say like, hey, I'd like this discussed, but I don't want everybody I know to know that I'd like this discussed. Sounds fantastic to me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because like regardless of how open of a person you are, I'm pretty darn open myself. But there are things that I would rather say just and get the idea out there in circulation so people can discuss it. Not because I want to say anything that's like bad necessarily, but maybe there's a political opinion that I know that is unpopular, or maybe there's a, like in the politics layer, they should have anonymous posting, that kind of thing.
We have to be conscious that too, we're using the YouTube platform, which is very restrictive.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So we have to be conscious of that, of whatever we say.
Yeah, we need to get like library support in here.
Oh boy, big time, don't we? Library Odyssey would be great.
Yeah, Library Odyssey. Yeah,
I would love that. I like Rumble, but Rumble is too centralized, even though it's exploded in viewership. But it's too central. On the banner, I'm gonna go ahead and approve it, but I still would like to see the coffee flip flop.
Yeah, so that's totally doable. Yep, that's totally doable.
So should I deny it?
I don't know. So here's the thing. Let's go look at advice, right? So it does drop this down below. It's not going to cover it. You see that?
I haven't gotten it.
Hey, real quick, I'm going to assume that the Odyssey library thing you just mentioned is not a collection of 20th century books, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Gotcha. Cool. No. So I found that
it's LBRY library, LBRY, and Odyssey is I think it's just odyssey.com or dot something. What is it?
There we go.
Yeah, it's odyssey.com, but
I found their just main
page differently, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm on there all the time. So
yeah, they got a desktop application. They've got their video content is decentralized, the way it's served up and stuff. Advertising on their platform is done. You have to use a token that you can earn or you can buy or whatever, but you use that.
Well, they got a lot of SEC.
SEC this is cool.
Yeah. Well, the SEC did apparently admit that use of the token was not speculative, and it was inherently utility in some cases. So that's a good step forward.
Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. I haven't seen this site before.
Oh,
yeah, it's cool.
I'm telling you, it's sad that it doesn't have the numbers that YouTube does, but I think I think personally it's the best option.
There's like a ton of stuff on here. There's people on here that I like watch regularly, like the Linux Experiment has a channel on here.
So watching them, you earn library, okay? But don't think of watching the library and earning library as an income stream, because it's very difficult for U.S. citizens.
Yeah, pitching it that way is a little counterproductive.
Yeah,
even though it's technically true. Just like Den, if that's the only thing you're after, it's not going to be as fulfilling of an experience.
Right.
Right. Well, but honestly, monetary aspects to all the stuff that we do here isn't even what I'm concerned about.
Here's a guy I follow quite a bit. One guy, his name is Rice Crypto, and he posts 100% of his stuff on Odyssey library. And the reason is because YouTube has gone in and censored him and deleted some of his videos. So if you want to see his complete library of content, you go there. And YouTube, just because you're used to seeing it on YouTube or whatever, he'll pop up on my notifications on YouTube, and I watch it on YouTube. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I know.
That's just as an example.
I've seen Rice around, and I've seen the name around, like whenever I was in Miami and stuff, and I know him more through Satoshi Shan.
Yeah,
I guess is on his show, or they have a show, or had a show, or something. There's some relation there, but basically I know him through Sean,
Yes.
or of him through Sean.
There are
So-
so many people on here that I watch. This is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it's a really good. It's a
I've
really
been
good
saying for a
platform.
while now. You guys are
Very
blowing my
useful.
mind right now. Sorry if this is totally off topic and I seem like I'm suddenly having like a moment here. But like I'm flipping through the recommended people, and like we got like Barely Sociable and like the Internet Historian, and we got like Nexpo and people like that. People that I
Barely
watch.
Sociable, so
Yeah.
cool.
Oh yeah, and Nexpo's great too. But it's
Yeah.
like people that I watch for just entertainment at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy cool.
You know, I'll watch like the old Star Wars stuff on there. I'm not Star Wars, Star Trek episodes on there. But you know, but hey, seriously, we need to look into that as putting that in a proposal on Den.social of having a different video feed other than YouTube, like Odyssey, Library Odyssey.
Yeah, right now there's YouTube. Vimeo used to work. I don't know if it still does. And SoundCloud still works, even though it's not video. If you put a SoundCloud link in the video field, it does pull that in.
I don't know how hard it would be to get library in there, but they
wild.
They certainly match a lot of the denizens' feelings about censorship.
Yeah, I mean, it solves a real problem, right? It's something that has obvious utility and solves an obvious problem, and people obviously use it, and it's there's no reason not to support it except for it just needs to be voted in, I guess. Yeah, proposed and voted in.
Maybe I can do that. I don't know if I'll get to it today, but maybe I can get to it tomorrow.
Here's a thought completely off topic that I just wanted to. Well, sort of not really. I guess it's sort of googly and YouTubey and censorship stuff. You ever looked around your house and thought it was kind of strange how many devices are connected to the internet?
Oh yeah.
Like I know this just comes up as like random there, but so I recently decided, screw it. I miss my little freaking Google Home damn thing at the house for setting alarms and stuff and telling my vacuums to do their thing. So I was like, whatever, I'll stick a spy device in here. I'll make a whole different account for it. It'll be its own little enclosed capsule. But I hooked all this stuff up, and then I started looking at it. I was like, I have a TV, an amp, 2 Google devices, my vacuums, literally my television is connected to it. My stereo is connected. My phone, like if I wanted to, my microwave can connect to it to be able to sync the time. Why? That's still wild to me.
Oh, that is so cool.
You don't have to.
It's so cool.
So that you don't have to. You can just trust someone else about what time it is.
If you can sit there and oops, sorry.
You might want to mute yourself there for a second.
I think is that the nukes? Are the nukes flying?
Yeah, he said the wrong thing. He brought attention to the fact that like in the 70s,
said the wrong
everybody
thing and they sent the bombs. Now it was somebody coming in the front door, but luckily I have a wonderful associate here who can take care of that.
Everybody used to be concerned and paranoid about wiretaps and stuff, but today it's like, hey, wiretap, what time is it?
Yeah, oh my god, we're fine with wiretaps now. I tried so hard. I've scraped away from almost everything that ties me to Google stuff. The only thing I haven't figured out how to get rid of YouTube is that's the thing, and you guys might have just sorted that.
Yeah,
like
YouTube,
whatever. At least it's
Odyssey is
account.
A very good alternative for that, and we should support that. Yeah,
I like that, especially just because I've been looking for something like that. So I think that would be an awesome project to support.
Yes, I really like. I like. I don't know what the guy who runs Odyssey. Well, founded Odyssey. He's running in New Hampshire, Free State, New Hampshire.
Really?
As a libertarian,
is that true?
I think.
Is it the same guy that?
I thought it was the same guy.
I don't. I think you're talking about. You're thinking of. What is his name?
For pre-search? No.
No. You're thinking of.
Ripple, and.
What is his name?
The Ripple Labs guy?
XRP.
I forget his name, but he's there's a guy running under a cypherpunk moniker who is a Bitcoiner, and I think is a proponent of Ripple Labs. I don't know if he was involved in creating it or not, but I know he used to be. I think he came from or used to be involved with Wall Street or something like that. Very well versed on like all of the problems and with the corruption in our regulatory bodies and things like that. Yeah, has a lot to say. Did a 30-hour, a 33-hour. He called it a, what do you call that? Filibuster. But of course, he's not elected into office yet, so it's not really a filibuster. It was more of a demonstration of his longevity, his ability to do that if called upon. And it was taken down from YouTube. His filibuster video was taken down from YouTube, which was, illustrative of the problem.
Yeah, his name is Bruce Fenton, and
Bruce. That's right.
Executive Director of the Bitcoin Foundation.
Gotcha. David, I muted you because I could hear your customer, just so you know. Bruce Fenton. That's right. Bruce Fenton. He's running in New Hampshire. I remember. He made a really good video about what DeFi is. I remember that. It was the dumpster fire video.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
We were talking a little bit about a related topic. So I wanted to say that the episode on Thursday of World Blockchain Roundtable,
yes,
is one that I proposed, very near and dear to my heart.
This one coming up, you're talking about, not the previous one, right?
I got to go back and watch the one from last week. I was out of town, but yeah, this one's the one on history, right? Because,
right.
And when David comes back, he'll want to chime in on this too, because he's more of a history buff than I am, and you are too, I think.
Yes, but I love history.
But yeah, it's one of those things that I didn't become as interested in history until I sort of discovered the implications of blockchain to recorded history. And this is why I proposed it, because it's like, there's so much disagreement about what happened, right? Everywhere.
You know how they say the winner rewrites the history in a war?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
right.
That when I saw that, when I saw that post, and it getting selected, and then thinking, okay, what kind of question can I ask? And then my first thought was, rather than a question, was a comment, was, wow, then this eliminates the victor of you know what I mean, to be able to rewrite history, because the history
everything.
It does. It really does. This is what really happened.
And even more so, I think about like problems that are that Orwell brought up about, for example, Ministry of Truth type shit, where in 1984 they would collect textbooks and burn them and reissue an updated version of the book, so that the history books matched the narrative.
Right.
And one of the problems we have today is that everything is digital, everything's online, everything is not necessarily printed. And so it's easily changeable. You don't have to go collect the books. You can just change what is served up on the web server, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you're even seeing that make its way into film and TV shows now. Netflix has gone back, and I got to look into what they did. I have no idea what they did, but apparently Netflix has already gone back and changed Stranger Things, some of the scenes in Stranger Things. Yeah. Probably because of political pushback or something like that. But now, the question is what was it versus how is it presented now? And how it's presented now is assumed to be, this is Stranger Things. This is what it always has been. But it's actually different now,
And it's interesting because when you go back and you look at different society and you look at older movies and period movies of the times, et cetera, whatever, that is what you focus in on. Well, in this time, in the 1980s, this movie came out and was relevant or commented on the times because whatever, Ronald Reagan was president, and this is what this is referencing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is like a focal point outside of the plot of the movie and the whole purpose of the theme of the movie. You know what I mean? And so then when you go back and alter it and it hasn't been written to a blockchain, that becomes a new narrative. It's a fork. Essentially, think of it as a blockchain fork.
Oh, interesting. A fork in history.
A fork in history.
Yeah.
When actually it's inaccurate.
Yeah. And for the first time in human history that we know of, we're able to, and it's kind of an abstract way to think of it, but you're able to measure the truthiness of something, right? How relatively true it is, or how likely it is for a piece of data to have been faked or lied about. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's measurements now, like a yardstick or whatever, where you can say, oh no, this is, like it would have cost $11 billion to fake this piece of data, and everyone would know that you did it because it would collapse the chain that it was posted to. Everybody would know that there was a giant reorg to change data in a certain block. Right. Now, you might not know what the data was, but you can know that it was changed.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the important part. The important part is to be able to validate truth.
Wow. Now we're going to go real crazy. So okay. All right. So how much, well, you could almost say all of our history has been forged and we're living a lie based off. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Too far on that
well, more importantly, and this is like, when you get into, I talk a lot about, period, but I talk a lot about how I sort of, am on that. I like to have people around me that disagree with me. I like to have company that, like I like to be aware of what people are thinking. And something that I see with the elections, for example, is like there's a lot of debate over, there's this like one-sided argument about the election fraud. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like the argument is in the wrong place. Because it's very obvious that there's even a question about it. It's very obvious that like literally half of the people, if not more, in the US, if not globally, are unsure. Like you cannot validate, you can't prove independently whether or not the elections were manipulated. You just
No, I go where and we have to be careful because we're on YouTube, so this subject is taboo. But
you see what I'm saying is
you're
like
absolutely right.
The fact that the question exists is the problem.
Yes, exactly. And the fact is not only that there's a question, but the focus should be more on the future. Okay, let's prevent this from happening so that there isn't a question in the future. And let's look at the possible solutions. Oh, look at this. There already is a solution on the shelf, but nobody wants to use it. So it brings up a bigger question of why don't those in power want to use it? Well, then we know why. And
those are, to me, the three big things going on right now with that is that it's very obviously not able to be validated independently, like by, or measured or proven. The question exists. There's the fact that the solution to that problem does exist today. It's available and it's not even expensive to implement. And then there's the third thing, which is that it is the case that by and large we're very preoccupied with debating the past instead of deciding to move forward to where we don't have room for that debate to take place anymore in the future.
And that's the sport, and that's the divisiveness that they want us to have. But see, I go to the next point, and I have two older brothers, and we argue about this pretty consistently. And my point is, and I'm going to offend a lot of people on it. It doesn't matter, because my point is, yes, it matters in that one person is to the right and one person is to the left, and that's going to dictate policy, et cetera, but it's not going to fix our current problems. Not one person elected to the biggest office in the land in the United States has the capability to fix it, because the bureaucrats always remain in power. They are always there, and the politician comes and goes, and the bureaucrat can wait them out. And that's kind of my feeling. So it matters that if the election was free and fair or not and accurate. Certainly it matters. What really should be the focus is, let's fix the system so we have free and accurate elections, and forget the past, but understanding that we need to move more towards focusing on the local elections and not the larger elections, because the larger elections are these giant ships in the water that take forever to turn around, and there's not enough people that are manning the steering of the ship and the motor, the engine of the ship and the rudder, etc., to even turn it around. Do you follow what I'm trying to say?
I do. Yeah, absolutely. Because like it's a much more difficult ship to steer. It takes much longer once you turn the helm to see any movement in the ship because of the momentum and stuff like that. And it's also very clear that people don't typically vote in the local elections as much as they do in every 4 years. They'll go vote for a president and that's it. But very arguably, I would say, maybe even demonstrably, the local elections are more important and they affect your life more so than the federal elections do, right? If I vote, I have an election coming up locally where I am now in a different district, right? I used to be in district, whatever it was, 1 or 2 or something, and now I'm in district 4, I think. And there's implications to that on how my neighborhood is treated on the scale, the city scale, you know what I mean? And so there's, you know, some guy that was walking around saying, hey, by the way, you're in a new district and I'm running for that district, you know? And you can have personal conversations with the people that are going to be making decisions on your individual lifestyle and how you live. For example, they're getting rid of all single family housing zoning in my city, all of it. No more single family housing zoning, right? That's kind of a big deal. That's kind of a big change.
Yes.
And it's being done by people that aren't really voted for by the majority of people who live here, because people don't typically go vote in the local elections. Now you can complain about it and you can talk about it at the pub, or you can, you know, or the coffee shop or whatever. But if you look at the numbers, and I don't have the best voting record either. I'm always, you know, there's excuses that I make to, I don't have time for it or whatever. But we've got to get better, myself included, about voting locally, because that's what affects your family first. And if you don't like it, you can go meet with the mayor. You can go talk to them, you know, in person. You can go to the city council meetings and take your whatever 3 minutes and discuss openly with people that are literally writing rules for your lifestyle on a local level, you know? So
once you realize that the big politics is a sport, therefore it's an entertainment, it really changes your perspective. And going back to the fork, you know, history as being forked, you know, when I love philosophy because I think it kind of encompasses all the sciences a little bit. But one of the points in when you go back and look at the writings of a particular philosopher, it's what they are observing in those times. What are the trials and tribulations of the people that they're around in their countries or the world or whatever that they're witnessing, and therefore they're coming up with, you know, well, this is why society acts this way, because I'm experiencing X, Y, and Z. And history is the same way. When you go back and look at history, you start reading the people that are period writers of what took place. You know, let's say World War II and how maybe the Germans turned their eye on, you know, well, we saw these Jews getting on a train, but I didn't stop it. There was just, I'm only one person, or whatever the situation was. You know, we're in the middle of a war here, and I'm just trying to feed my family.
Howdy, I'm popping my head in here really quick to just note, just wanted to say hello. Everybody have a wonderful morning. I'm going to go ahead and scoot. I've got some people in here, and I got to take care of them.
Okay, cool.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate
Good
it.
to see everybody.
See you in the new layer.
We're in the new layer. That's right. I'll go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and mess around in there a little bit later.
I'll see you in there, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
So, you know, history's forked, and there you go. And you have to.
I haven't thought of it that way. You're right, though. It's forked, and we've lost we don't know which fork is real. You know what I mean? I don't want to get into, like, you know, what's the real Bitcoin all over again, but it's kind of like that. It's kind of like, you know, what's the, you know, a fork in history, a fork in time. That's, you know, that can get really cerebral really quickly. That should be an episode in the cannabis layer.
Definitely. This is good stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what the episode on Thursday is going to be about. There's some cool questions in there. Let's see. How do I push this button that I want to press? There we go. So there's some good questions in there already. Go into the World Blockchain Roundtable layer, see what people have been talking about, and vote on it to see what you want to have discussed. I haven't looked at it at all yet. I see a couple of them in here. This one's interesting. Without reading it, Jacob Wayne brings up 9/11, for example.
He's always got great posts, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely does. Yep. And I was just thinking that, how different would it have been if literally all of the radar data and amateur plane spotters and everything all had on-chain data that was verifiable, able to be validated, right? Because there's a lot of questions and a lot of accepted explanations for things that you're really taking someone's word for it. And again, it's just like the elections. It doesn't matter who's right. What matters is that we don't have a way to validate what's right. We don't have a way to say like, oh, this is objectively what happened, because we can measure that on a blockchain and say, oh, this is, real-time data that was posted and timestamped to the Bitcoin blockchain at the time from the actual electronic device, the radar.
Right.
And so we can't fake that. No, this is where these planes were at this time. And if you ever change it, yeah, maybe you don't know what the truth was, but you can know that it was altered.
Yeah, like the argument, it wasn't a plane that hit the Pentagon; it was a missile and back and forth. If everything was on a blockchain, you would know one or the other was fact and true.
Right.
I mean, it's
this specific photograph was posted within seconds or minutes of the impact that showed clearly that it was a plane, or it was a missile, or it was a UFO, or it was a laser beam, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And you could then say, no, this has provably, measurably not been altered since the time it was posted. And so it's not a Photoshop. It's not a fake that was, put out on YouTube 5-10 years later to say, oh, look at this newfound footage, this new evidence, that kind of thing, right? That kind of thing where everything is on chain and everything is recorded and timestamped and hashed to Bitcoin, right? Or Monero, or, something that has measurable, calculable truth metrics, I guess, and
this is
and I don't even know what to call it because it's such a new concept, but
yes, it is. This is when I saw this post, I saw a black box. I was thinking, and because the black box is the blockchain. Yeah. The black box is the blockchain, and so if you're trying to explain to somebody what is blockchain and what's its purpose and what can it do,
it's the black box on the airplane.
You could say it's the black box on the airplane. In other words, it's
that's what people go look for. Like, what really happened? It's like, I don't know. We got to find the black box.
It's recording everything: the altitude, the trajectory, everything that took place, the communication with the pilot and co-pilot, and and it's recording this, and it's secured in a box that nearly almost anything that happens with this plane, so long as we can access the blockchain or access the black box, we can probably determine the events that took place that brought this plane to a crash, blah, blah, blah. So the blockchain is the black box. So when you plug in a black box in everything,
that fits. Everything gets a black box.
Yes. That's what
we had. It's funny. Black Box is a company that makes all kinds of stuff for the military. And we had when I was in the Navy, I was in the Tomahawk program. We had black box switches, network switches, and everything, which did nothing except it was a regular network switch. I just it's kind of like then the company name becomes associated with the type of device or whatever. But really, they make all kinds of different stuff too, like skill saw or like sawzall or something like that. Black box. So yeah, that's Thursday. We need questions in there to talk about. Otherwise, we're going to spend the whole time talking about 9/11.
Yeah, this question is so phenomenal. Though. No wonder it got 10,000 energy.
Yeah, what did even? Let's get a little preview of Thursday real quick because I'm curious what Jacob Wayne had asked. Suppose we had blockchain tech 9/11 happen. I'm curious how the event would have been recorded. All passengers on flights with time of purchase when they bought tickets, right? Because people are saying like, well, all kinds of stuff, I guess.
Yes.
Black box recordings would be on chain. Flight classes, movements of terrorists in the States, exact damage to each and many buildings. Yeah, the exact damage. This is
Right.
something that has implications for the insurance industry too, where
Mhm, mhm.
you could have flood sensors, for example, in New
Mhm.
Orleans, and you could have flood sensors every 6 inches vertically on a wall,
Right.
and so you could know, okay, it flooded this much, so we can calculate, okay, you have flood damage and it exceeded this threshold, and then within minutes you get an automatic payout, right?
Yes.
That
Yes.
kind of thing.
Example two is like the building that collapsed in Florida. Okay, if these building inspectors were looking at this building and they were reporting problems, they would have been reported on a blockchain. It would have been the black box. We would have this data, this information that is publicly accessible, so everyone
Mhm.
can determine if this was a conspiracy or was this just, uh, you know, one bad thing after another that you know no one could foresee. An unfortunate event happened, occurred, and loss of life, and
Right,
insurance
and that's
companies can
why.
make a determination versus, oh well, this was a military you know uh, you know exercise or CIA
Yeah, or some
involvement,
kind of
blah blah blah
inside
blah, blah.
job kind of
Yeah,
thing, which is the
yeah,
last part of the question here. Like how would you, and that's the thing is with, and this is where, instead of arguing about with like election fraud and stuff, right?
Mhm.
Let's say you're like, no, that's crazy. There was not, yeah, there was election fraud, but not any more than there ever, there always is a little bit of somebody trying to vote twice or whatever,
Mhm.
Um, let's say you believe that. Why not then prove it? You know what I mean? Why not? It's like, okay, great. There wasn't any fraud. Awesome. I love that there's no fraud. I hate fraud. I'm 100% with you on that. Now let's go prove that. And then it's like, oh, I don't know if I
Well,
want to
the
prove it.
fight against the fight against the fraud is either side wants to prove it, and that's the sport. Or well, one side wants to prove it, and that's their sport, and the other side is like, what if no, there was no election fraud. I trust our systems. You know what I mean? When in
Yeah.
fact history shows that both sides have had election fraud. Republicans are well
Yeah.
known to have had election fraud in Republican states, and Democrats have had, well, they've cannibalized each other. You know, they really have. They've cannibalized each other to get to the top of their ticket within their parties. And it doesn't have to be necessarily election fraud. It could be other shenanigans. You know what I mean? But anyway, I shouldn't have even said that. But
No,
long,
you're right. Yeah. And
long
that's why
story. Right. We need
everything,
to.
if it's economical to do it, which it is, and
Right.
if it's profitable to do it, which it is, and it is, it brings integrity to our systems, which it does, and it's available today, which it is.
Mhm.
The question, and that infuriates me is why are people refusing to take that step of just using what's off the shelf available today?
Mhm.
Commercial off the shelf,
Plug it in. Plug and
COTS.
play.
Yeah, COTS. That's what we had in the military. We had COTS, commercial off the
COTS.
shelf stuff. Yeah.
COTS. That's cool.
So, yep.
Oh,
So,
that's great.
cool. Thanks for that chat. I appreciate it because I think it's an important conversation. We're going to talk about it obviously on Thursday a lot more.
Yeah, looking forward to that one.
I wanted to point out that the last prioritization round passed for, I mentioned it earlier, but for a leaderboard and metrics page.
Mhm.
And there is a request for input over in the Den.social layer. And so if you have ideas about what should go on the leaderboard, what kind of things would be useful, stuff like that, there's a place to talk about it. So put your ideas in there, respond to somebody else's ideas, vote up the ones you think that are, more, I don't know, vote on stuff, right?
Mhm.
As you do. I think there's going to be a lot of usefulness there. There's going to be a
I
lot
agree.
of stuff that is going to be able to be used for other features too. For example, it's a really good place to put canaries, right? Is up on the leaderboard where maybe, every layer has its own canary or something, and you can have a canary graveyard. I don't know. Or it's a very good place to go and look at Maybe there's metrics for maybe every day you have the top 3 posts that earn the most energy, so you can see where your competition is. Or maybe there's competing layers, right? The 2 travel layers. You can see, oh, maybe I should post in here because that's where the bigger incentives are, and you can sort of map that out better. Layers themselves can compete, healthy competition, friendly competition, that kind of thing. And then it brings everything right to the front where you can easily see like what's going on. And it probably would make it feel more alive. Ideas that I have for that are things like maybe a heartbeat or a rhythm, or like not a rhythm, but like a tempo or something for a layer. How often is there interaction, whether it's conversation, replies, or posts or whatever. But yeah, all kinds of metrics and leaderboard stuff. Yeah, just to have like a living page of, what's going on, like an overview on Den, like a dashboard.
Yeah, I think that a dashboard that's site-wide and a dashboard for each layer. So within each layer, you're saying, is that kind of what you're saying? So like we could look inside that layer and say, oh wow, so and so posts, almost 5 times a day in this particular layer, and so only posts every 3rd Sunday. You know what I mean? Or
yeah,
for
there's definitely room
activity,
to drill into stuff like that. I was thinking more of just a broad overview to where you can see like, across the board, which denizens are like. What if you see, I don't want to pick on somebody, but I will. What if you see like the same posts getting a whole bunch of energy all the time, but they're low effort and it just doesn't seem right? It could maybe make you question like, oh, okay, is this a bot, or is this like, really, whatever. It's just a way of like bringing transparency into things and helping you decide what lot you want to have some ownership in, what layer you want to have some ownership in, or more high level stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. I was really happy. I voted for this, so I was happy it went through. So, and I do that monthly subscription based off of how many people are subscribed to each layer and which layers are growing faster. So I'll be glad that kind of thing gets in there. How it's presented is a whole nother
issue. Totally.
I don't know how it'll be presented. We already have the site-wide matrix as far as total energy used, total subscribers.
Yeah, we have.
We should show that on the screen real quick if you could.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you go into your payouts, and I'll just go into mine, but you have the overview. And so there's data on here, and you can look at it and see like energy spent, average daily energy spent, stuff like that.
Right. And the
where you can kind of see which days, maybe you want to start your own weekly post series. Maybe you can see, oh, okay, on these 2 days, there tends to be less activity. So that means less competition if you know the way the system works. Bringing some gamification into it, allowing people to sort of like plan out. Like I have this thing about harnessing greed. If greed is something that's in human nature, why not put the incentives and the friction in places where you basically are able to harness the power of greed for good, and give people the tools to do that, to play the game. If the system is built robustly enough, you should have it to where people could try to game the system, and that should be good for the for the system, I guess, for the health of the system.
A lot of the issues that we might see from someone trying to game the system or posting, like you said, maybe an individual's posting kind of something that takes very little effort but gets a lot of energy every day. Well, that works they are essentially becoming a big fish in a small pond. But once the pond becomes a lake, they're no longer the big fish.
That's how you really solve that problem, in my opinion.
Yes,
right?
That's exactly how.
Because if there's no competition to that, then it kind of is what it is, But then if you're able to attract the kind of denizens in this case that are going to compete against that, and who are going to maybe maybe the coffee layer, maybe the coffee with Den layer can be this thing to compete against. If we all say, oh no, we're going to spend energy in there because we all get a cut, and also it makes this layer, more. It makes the whole platform more competitive, because now there's not just one or two layers that bring in an energy haul. There's now a third layer that brings in an energy haul, so it cuts there. It cuts theirs in a third or something like that.
Right.
Then it just that's competition in the way that it's supposed to work, I guess.
Right. Absolutely. It's kind of like the tiny school, the one student that does exceptionally well in this tiny school, but once they kind of go into now they've graduated on to college, and now they're competing around people from all over the world.
Yeah.
They
I had
they realize
that we didn't even have a high school in my town when I was growing up. It was built in my 10th grade year in high school, I think.
Mhm.
Before that, it was like 3 hours a day to go to school. Just to drive there on the bus.
Wow.
But there just wasn't a lot of there was this basic Florida education, public education, and there were some shining star educators that would go out of their way to cater to people that were more interested, wanted to learn more than what was in the book and taught on the test and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But then, I felt really smart. But then I joined the Navy, and I went to a military school that was specialized in teaching you the fundamentals of electronics and how resistors and transistors and electricity flow and all of these equations and computations and fundamentally how technology works. And then I was like, holy shit, I don't know anything.
Yeah, it was out of your wheelhouse, but it's still, you're an intelligent individual, so you were able to figure this out. And do you follow?
Yeah, I was able to. I did really well with it. I was at the top of my class. I got to pick orders first because of it, but it was definitely eye-opening kind of thing.
Gotcha.
And I have a problem with getting bored as well. That was always my biggest problem in school, is I would get bored.
Yeah, likewise.
But if I find something that I'm hooked on, and it's always been computers for me, could have something to do with growing up in the woods and not realizing what a computer was until I was 8 or 9 years old, and that kind of thing. But I was always fascinated with computers and electronics, so it's held my interest. Everything else I have a habit of getting bored of, and it's something I gotta that's where the discipline comes in, is to continue doing the things that maybe it isn't exciting for you, but you do it because you need to get to the thing that you do like. I don't know.
Right.
So, off on a tangent there a little bit, but yeah.
Cool.
I think what we were talking about was
leaderboards and this kind of thing, site matrix.
Yeah. And then competition. A leaderboard is very important for competition and the feeling of competition, and being able to even show off a little bit, even to gloat a little bit, to be like, oh, I won the thing today, or that kind of thing. And maybe you should get, I don't know, later on down the road, maybe you can start putting stuff in maybe there is an NFT for every day from the top energy poster dude, right? So then now there's this you can prove oh yeah, I've been awesome. One time I remember on Reddit, I was my girlfriend at the time made a birthday cake for me, and it was it was written in XML on it, right? She put it,
Cool.
Posted it to or I posted it to the R Geek subreddit, and it made it to front page, and it was oh, it was super awesome, right? And it was a really cool thing, and she was super proud of it, and it's oh man, I made the front page of Geek. And
how cool.
And it even showed up in the Aaron Schwartz documentary called The Internet's Own Boy.
Really? Wow.
There's a scene where it's paging through examples of content and communities interacting and stuff on Reddit. And then it came through, and it was there's my birthday cake was one of the things, you know what I mean? I was oh look, there I am, Wow. So there's those
sweetest birthday cake in the world right there.
Yeah, totally. Nice. There's stuff like that where it shows it gets exciting, and you can I don't think gloating is a problem as long as it's not tempered. Your only mode of communicating.
Sure. It must be tempered. Yes.
So, all right, man. I got a lot of catching up to do, I guess, because I'm just coming back in from my little tour there, And I've got to get, so there's Jacob Wayne, if you're watching or listening, Gravity Crab has your hard drive. He hasn't mailed it back to you yet, but here's what we're going to do. I've got to send your camera back anyway. So I'm going to go get with him. I'm going to get your hard drive with the data that is recovered. I'm going to put your camera in a box with the hard drive and the tripod and the handheld stick thing, and I'm going to ship that back to you. And then what he's going to do is he's going to take this footage from Iceland and he's going to cut a little vacation video. I've picked out music for it already from my brother's band I used to manage. There's some really good music that is instrumental. It was a prog rock band, so there's a lot of music in there that's just music without lyrics that you can use for, a cool vacation video, for example. And so we'll put that up. He's going to post it first and all of that stuff, and we'll show it off then. And until next week, where we go live in the coffee layer for the first time, we'll be tinkering with a new layer and go vote on stuff, because we've added a bunch of things today on the show that you'll need to go vote on, so that we have new tags and we have the ability to have a banner, for example. So go do that. I think I'm going to use the same image that's on the coffee cup for Coffee with Den. If you don't know, it is over at dragonchain.store. Dragonchain.store. There is a section for Den on there. And so if you go to, I guess it would be shop. And yeah, on the left, there's Den, and then there's Coffee with Den as a category. And there's a cap, and there's a shirt, and there's a hoodie, and there's a coffee cup. So I was thinking maybe something like what's on here. Maybe we just do the C, or maybe we just do the dragon itself, the half dragon in orange. I don't know. We'll figure out. Maybe somebody else has a better idea. Some kind of odd
tough one, because rather than being a circle,
the whole cup could be the avatar. Actually,
there you go. The whole cup, because it's coffee. The whole cup.
Perfect. So that's what we'll do. So that'll be in there as soon as I make it, and then you can vote on it. I don't have any discount codes. I feel like I should give some out at this time, but I don't have any. So yeah, there we go. And you got anything else at the moment, or
no? Tune in to the upcoming shows. We have 2 on Thursday for sure.
Yeah, right. Because the Den.social meeting is on Thursday at so 11 a.m. is the World Blockchain, and then 3 p.m. Eastern, both Eastern time, is the governance call. So this will be my first governance call in 2 weeks. I'll have to catch up. You'll have to fill me in. All right. Good. Well, I'll see you then. Thanks, everyone. See you around.
See ya.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best. Adaptable, raw capital, label radical yet rational. A tactical approach is probable if this animal is fallible, but that conclusion is laughable. So with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now.